So here's a really good tip for you guys out there. When you're setting this fence up, after you got your fence laid out, it's best to come over here and put the other end in. That way you know exactly that these two things are going to meet up when you go putting them in, and you're not have made your fence too big, your area too large. Then you got to go back and pull all your posts back up. So go ahead and stick both of them in the ground, and then start out here putting your fence out where you want it to be. And that way the fence is going to take up, you know, the right amount of space, and you won't have to take your post up and, you know, guess at where you're going to end up with your loose end, because it's already tied up there. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these poles put in. So we've got both ends together and they're both tied off. It keeps them really close together. You don't have any gaps. It also pulls some of the slack out of the top line. But what I like to do with these corners that I make a really hard directional change is throw that little loop around there and grab the step-in post. And I'll just come out a ways to where I feel like it's kind of tightening up. And then once I step on that post, that really cinches it up and pulls it up tight and gets it standing up straight. And I do this on all the corners where I'm really, anything more than about 45 degrees, I'll put one of these step-in posts with a brace wire on it. And that really tightens the fence up and gets it standing up tall. And you really want to do these on your corners, whether your fence is sagging or not, because if you get a really heavy rain, say 2 or 3 inches in a short period of time, your ground's going to get saturated, and where that pressure is pulling on it, those posts will just fall right over and your whole fence can fall down, and you might lose whatever you're trying to contain in your fence, whether that be chickens or sheep, goats, cows, anything. So brace your corners. That's very important. So you can see I got my hot wire coming in to power the fence. I've got my spool back up, and I put the spool on the inside of the fence. That way the pressure from that line coming this way will actually pull up against the fence, and not, if that stake tends to come up, it'll be supported by these two here. So the next thing I do is just hook the fence back up, and I clip on to these silver leads on the end here with a jumper wire and just jump it over to this hot wire, and it's all ready to go. And you can see the chickens love it. This took me about 30 minutes to take down and set back up. 35 minutes, and I was filming by myself too, so you can do it much faster. I think I can get it put up in 15 minutes if everything goes right and I catch all the chickens, you know, in a real short time. So, you know, they really enjoy being out here and getting to move often, because they can really eat up a lot of grass, especially if you got a bunch of chickens in one spot. But you can see I got my brace wires, my brace posts out on the corners. That fence is standing tall, looking good, and my chickens are safe. They have not a chance of a ground predator getting in here and getting these chickens. I've lost some to hawks, but I've never lost a chicken to a ground predator. And I've had this fence for 3 years, and this will be the 4th summer. These fences hold up really good. I'm going to show you one more little tip. If you go to hook your fence up and you've got a short and you're not getting good voltage on your wire, go around and check all these sections right here. If that wire somehow has gotten down below this piece of fiberglass and hitting this stake, this step-in part, it will short it out and you'll lose a lot of your voltage to the ground right there. So I always walk around and check those after I get the fence set back up and make sure that that wire's not slipped below that piece of fiberglass. That way you'll have a good charge on there. You can get these fences, go to my resource page on the navigation bar, and you'll see a link to where you can pick these fences up. I think they're about 185 bucks. That's what I paid for mine. That's been a couple years ago. These fences are awesome. You know, like I said, I've had these. I've never lost a chicken to a ground predator. And I'm just tickled to death with this fence. Like I said, I would rather have two 82 feet sections than 164 foot section. It'd just be much easier to take up and set down, in my opinion. Anyway, this is John with pasturedpoultryinfo.com, and I hope to see you soon.